What's up, everybody, and welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm going to go by the name The Normal Car Buyer. Reason I'm making this YouTube channel and YouTube video is I have a ton of people that come to me all the time and they're like, hey, how do I buy a car and where do I start, right? Reason that is I have some experience in the auto industry. My father's been in the auto industry for as long as I can remember. I have a lot of exposure to cars. I've bought a lot of cars, sold some as well. People just come to me as apparently the car guy. So I just wanted to go through some simple steps on how to actually find a car. I feel like there are a lot of videos that are saying, that'll tell you, okay, this is how you negotiate a car, this is how much you spend for a car, but I've never seen anyone that actually shows you where do I start. And I think that's the most important. A few key points you can see in the thumbnail is Kelley Blue Book has the average used car price right now at $25,900. Found that kind of interesting. I know that there's a ton of things in the news that are saying, especially in the past few years, saying that used car prices are out of control. It's definitely coming down. Newsweek has it down 10.3% from the past year. So if you've waited and you're looking to buy a used car, here's a good place to start. I think it's a good time to buy a used car. I bought one a few years ago, or about a year ago now at this point. It's definitely depreciating some value, but I bought a good car, so I don't really care, right? So there are a few websites, few things we're going to look at. We're going to start with just Car Gurus. There are a couple of websites that we're going to look at that I think are important to just get this thing running. But one thing you definitely want to figure out is actually what type of car you want to buy. You should be looking at either a sedan or an SUV or a minivan or a truck or whatever you like. But definitely figure that out first, and here are a few tips that you can go from. So let's start here. Let's just look at simple Car Gurus, do buy used. We'll do it by body style, and we said we were going to do average car price. I want to do a little bit lower. I'm going to do $16,000 to $26,000 for a used car in the greater Boston area, right? We're going to do SUV crossover. It seems to be the hottest market right now, so hopefully it's most relevant to people. Let's just take a look at this. So if we go in here, first thing you're going to want to do is just change the mileage. I'll probably do a later video on why mileage sometimes doesn't really matter, but it's a general rule of thumb. We're not going to do it by hours on a car like a tractor. So let's do 70,000 miles. We'll do, this is sort of by best deal first. You're always going to get these. But anyway, if you just look up here, here are just a few cars. A lot of people, again, reference how many with the used car shortage. I have 3,800 used SUVs with less than 70,000 miles in this price range in this area. So it doesn't really look like a shortage to me anymore. So a few good cars here. I'm not going to go in and recommend a bunch. I'll do a later video on that. But you can see a lot of them are similar. A lot of Jeep, Nissan, Jeep, Lincoln, right? But I do want to go up. Don't buy a BMW X3. They are the worst rated SUV for reliability right now. But let's just go to the top here. I pulled out a few. So if I found this car yesterday. It's a 2018 Acura MDX SH all-wheel drive, right? I think it's a really good example of one that you could possibly look at. So first things you want to look at. So it says it's $5,000 below market. Now the market is changing, right? We said that it dropped 10.3%. It's dropped a lot actually in this past month. So that could be something, but why is it so below value? The other thing we want to look for is we want to buy a car from a new car dealer, right? At this price range, right? We want to buy a car from a new car dealer, and we would ideally want it from a small new car dealer, a small franchise. Reason being is they feel a lot more pain when something happens, right? If you have a giant car dealership, something comes in, something's wrong, it is what it is. It's just numbers to them. A smaller one, like my father works for one, that's just a one-owner dealership, Mercedes dealership. Someone comes in, they get bad reviews. That's bad for them, right? A lot worse. So we look here, it says Key Quick Lube in the background. I don't know if they're doing it in the Key Quick Lube, but seems like they, if they're some type of franchise, they have their own service or whatever that may be. So I'm going to guess this is. We'll Google it in a minute. Mileage 45, right? But we do want to check. There's clean title. That's good. One accident reported. So we got to look into that. And 2 previous owners. The thing I found interesting about this one is there is a exclamation point on the previous owners when 2 really isn't that crazy. If you have a lease, a buy, and then a buy from 2018, that's not weird. So let's see why. I actually, I looked into this before, but one thing you're going to want to do is we're going to check how big this is. We're going to check out how big this franchise is, right? So you just Google it, Key Auto Group, Wildcats, this New Hampshire, UNH Go Wildcats. But it is a franchise, right? So we are dealing with a reputable dealer, hopefully, right? But we actually want to find this car. And again, it is what it is on the dealership size, but I recommend buying from a new one if you're in this price point. So let's look at the website. Let's get some information. Let's actually find this car. So we want to do shop all pre-owned. We're actually going to find it. It was Acura, and we want MDX, right? MDX, cool. So, and just to find this exact one, I'm going to go price low to high. And here it is. Great deal on Car Gurus. I don't know why it's taking so long to load. I know this is the right one. We'll click into it. So here it is on the website. I think it's actually a little bit lower than it said on Car Gurus, but main thing we want to look at here, it's the same thing. It's actually representing it. Still there. Great deal on Car Gurus. Cool. This only has auto check. I always recommend Carfax. I don't know if I noted before, 45,000 miles is pretty low for this car. So why is it so low? So let's look at the auto check really quick. Again, always recommend Carfax over this, but this is all we have at the point. You could always ask them for it if you really wanted this car. But two things to note here, fleet usage and lease, right? Lease isn't bad. Why isn't lease bad? Because if someone's leasing the car, they're going to go in and bring the scheduled maintenance because they want to pay for it. They pay for it in the monthly payments, but if you're leasing a car for 3 years, who cares? Just go bring it in. You're going to get a good service done. You're already paying for it. For an oil change, something like that. Fleet usage is not good. Why is fleet usage not good? Say this is, let's give an example. So it's a solar energy company and they buy a bunch of cars for fleet use and you have someone driving all around, right? That person doesn't care about that car. That person doesn't care about maintaining the car. They don't care if they buy a bunch of Raisinets and throw them all on the ground and they melt. Doesn't matter to them. It's not their car. It's just a business car, right? So two big flags there. The other thing is accident reported. This actually doesn't tell you what the accident was. A Carfax will, how much damage. It won't tell you exactly what it is, but that's a big red flag for me. I don't like this car. But let's say we did this and we're like, man, I really wanted that MDX. Okay, now we've identified that we want an SUV. We have this much money to spend. We on around this many miles. Great website here. Auto Tempest is going to give you the best way to look at this. I already popped this in to save time, but let's just look at this right here. So Acura MDX model 2016 XYZ. Let's search it. Let's see what we can find in the greater Boston area. A couple really good ones here. This is the one that I found that I really like. So Jafarian, if that's how you pronounce it, Auto Group. You can see in the back there's a Volvo. Looks like it's a Volvo. They might have a new Volvo dealership. That's great. That's something we want. I grew up in that area, lived there for a while, so I've never heard of it. So it's interesting. It's at Volvo. That's fine. Probably came in on trade. 26,259. We're right in the ballpark. You can always negotiate. Again, I'll link some videos that have good negotiation tactics. I'm not going to go through that. But let's just Google it. So you just Google Jafarian. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Jafarian Auto Group. Sounds like nefarious. So they have a Volvo dealer and a Toyota dealer and used car, right? So definitely a small one. So let's actually look for this thing. So you can actually see here, boom, we're right on the money. They have two and a collision center and a used car dealership. So let's actually find this car, used inventory. Now we want make is going to be Acura. Oh, here it is. First one right here. It's actually lower than it was on Car Gurus, so they lowered it on the website. Very cool. Another indication. Cars dropping, right? Good deal on Car Gurus. That's stupid. But this does have Carfax, so let's just click into it, and then we'll go into the Carfax. But same thing, everything that we saw. I think it's a really nice car. I would recommend someone for this. 88 views past 7 days. Cool. Great. Show me the Carfax. This is the big kicker, right? 7 service records, fine. It's not always going to show up. 2 previous owners, again, fine. It's a 2017. Personal lease, we like that. 2 years. That's interesting. It's a short lease. Oh, 2 years, not much. And then second owner, right? But we just want to see here, just go through. Do we have any oil changes? Oil change, right? Bang. No accidents. Oil change. Oil change again. Another thing that you can see on the Carfax is 45 Acura Peabody. Beauty. You can see if they actually did maintenance before they listed for sale. You have to look at it. It's specific for each one. But anyway, these are just really good things you want to look at. Look at it. It took us less than 10 minutes. If we wanted an SUV in between that price point, we just found one. Acura MDX is great. Would always recommend it. Again, if you like this video, please subscribe, like it, share it with people. I'm going to make more videos, more in depth, what cars you should buy, what cars you shouldn't buy. But I think this is a good starting point, where to find a car in this market that you can actually